Preaching in 2025 is one of the hardest things I have ever had to do. Because by the time that I write something on Thursday is when I usually put together the order of worship, and I have an idea of where we're going to go, then usually by Friday, something wild happens, and I have to rethink everything. It's an extra gamble when I'm like, you know what we're gonna do? A 7-week sermon series. Right? I'm like, we're gonna commit to this bit, right? Like for the next 2 months, up through the first part of September, we're going to be talking about the fruits of the Spirit. And then this weekend happened, and I'm like, is this still the thing that we need to be talking about? And the thing that has stuck in my head is that little throwaway sentence after the list of all the good things that says, what does it say? There is no law against such things. And I'm like, Paul, try America in 2025. And we're like real close, right? When there are other churches who are saying empathy is a sin, we are like 6 seconds from there being laws against. And in some ways, there already are laws against something as simple and as radical as love. When there are people who are agitating for peace, which we'll talk about next week or in 2 weeks, there are laws. There is law enforcement that is saying you cannot do this in the streets. You cannot stand up and say these are the things that we need in this moment. And so it's actually that little sentence where, in Paul's brain as he's writing this, of course no one's going to have a problem with any of these things. And I'm like, well, 2,000 years later, I'm not sure that's actually true. But it means that these things are necessary now more than ever. And this summer, nourishing the fruit of the Spirit alive and well in our midst is actually the most important work we could be doing. It's easy right now to tell you exactly what I'm against. My guess, if you're here, you're probably against most of the same things. There's a Venn diagram that's almost a circle. And it would be easy to get up here and rage about what our country did on its 249th birthday to celebrate, and how everyone I know is going to be negatively affected by what happened. That we won't even know all of the knock-on effects until years from now. But we know that it started on Friday. There's room for that. There's room for the grief and the ways that will echo through our communities both now and again. Last week, we talked about being able to hold grief and joy at the exact same time, how they aren't actually contradictory to each other. They have to live right next to each other. That grief in the way that it does actually expands us to hold more room for joy, in the way that Elisha experienced receiving a double portion of Elijah's spirit. And holy Moses, do I need a double portion of spirit these days. And so we are deepening into what it looks like when the Spirit shows up, and how we can say yes to that and nourish and nurture that when we can recognize it when it comes, so that we know that as we eke out a little bit of a refuge, a little bit of a pocket of sanity, as Reverend Logan Bennett talked about several weeks ago, a little bit where the realm of God can break in and we can say, it does not have to be this way, and we will show you with our bodies what that means, how it can be different, and the way that we live with each other will bear witness to the world as it could be, which is so, so vitally important right now. We are going to start with love. Start with love. And those of you who are Vista Grande old, have been around a little while since I've been pastoring, you know that I have a favorite gospel. Which one is it? No, not Luke. Second favorite is it's Mark. Right? So the story of the rich young ruler, which we read part of today, it shows up in 3 of the Gospels, all but John. But my favorite one is Mark because I pay attention to those little throwaway lines, right? Like in the Galatians reading, there's no law against these things, and I'm like, But in the Mark reading, there's another one. Did anyone catch it? So the rich young ruler comes to Jesus and he says, "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit abundant life? Life which is overflowing." So Jesus says, "Why do you call me good? Only God is good." There's that. Jesus looked at him and loved him. So I imagine this rich young ruler is sort of an archetype, right? An archetype that we are very familiar with right now, of a guy with a lot of money who has no access to his soul. There is so much fear in this guy. He's always trying to save face. This person has never said sorry in their life because they are perfect. Jesus said, "Well, here's what the law says." And what does the guy say? "I did all that. Been there, done that. Since I was a kid, I've been perfect. I have made no mistakes." Right? Do we know someone like that? Maybe a small group of them, right? And he's got money, right? And so he has been insulated from the impacts of the choices that he's made because he has the resources for it to bounce right off of him. And he wants someone to rubber stamp him. So he sees Jesus as better than him, as having something that he doesn't have. And he wants someone to say, "You're good. Here's the blessing. Go on your way. Live life exactly as you want to," which there are lots of our siblings of faith that is exactly what faith communities are doing. That say, if you can come here and do something performative that doesn't actually change your life, you can keep committing atrocious violence against everyone else. There were people praying over the bill before it passed, and I wonder, what God are you praying to? Because it ain't mine. It's not mine. So this guy, he comes to Jesus and he goes, "Okay, can you just sign off and tell me that I'm good? Because there's this deep gnawing feeling in me that I am not. That there's something missing here, that I'm disconnected from my community, from my fellow humans, and I don't know how to bridge that gap. So if I come to you and I say, 'Aren't I good enough?' Jesus answers, there are things that are keeping you separate from your fellow people. For this person, it was his wealth. But before Jesus says that devastating news to him, He looks at him and he loves him. Being seen by someone you can't hide from is terrifying. That's the real meaning of the word intimacy. There was a pastor when I was growing up that this has stuck in my head for 28 years now, is that the meaning of the word intimacy is into me, you see. I am here in front of you. And this guy has so much built up around his image, the way that he's perceived. He wants to be good. He wants to be seen as kind and generous. And yet the thing that would change his life is the thing that he can't let go of, his self-image of someone who has it made, who has arrived, who knows what the score is, who knows what to do in every situation. And Jesus looks at him, and that is a moment of intense vulnerability. To be seen beyond the mask that you wear, beyond your role in society, beyond the way that people expect you to show up. He was seen as himself and loved. And it's devastating because the rich young man doesn't know what to do with that. He actually closes himself off more and leaves. And I hope we never get the end of that story, but I hope that beyond that first initial pushback against that kind of vulnerability, that kind of being perceived, that it was able to do some work on his heart. We don't know what he ended up doing with his wealth. All we know is that he went away sad that day. There is a significant part of the Christian faith that says no one is beyond redemption. Even that guy, whoever that guy is in your brain right now, even that guy is not out of the reach of the love of God, and the love of God is transformative. In 12-step rooms, there are a lot of pithy sayings, many of which can fit basically on the back of a bumper sticker or a postcard. I'll put it in my big book. And one of my favorite ones, though, is you can't transmit what you don't have. So it's easy to look at those people over there as lacking connection, lacking the ability to remove the things that keep us disconnected from each other. And yet, if we are not living fully in connection, where that vulnerability, even if it scares us and we have the defense mechanisms that come up, if we are not choosing connection to God and connection to each other, how can we invite someone who is disconnected into relationship if we don't have it ourselves? So love is the answer. Love in the way that invites us into the most vulnerable positions that we can be in, to say, here are the things that I have used to keep myself safe for this long, and I'm going to gently lay them down and ask you to see me as imperfect and wounded and scared. The fifth step within the 12-step tradition is taking your moral inventory, where you have listed out all of the crappy things that you have done, and you take it to your sponsor, and you say, please see me. Please see me as worthy and good, even though I've done this laundry list of things that I am ashamed of. I wonder how much shame the rich young ruler was holding that made him put up such significant barriers to actually being known. We're not immune to those same things. We're not immune to the way that the American culture permeates pretty much everything that says we got to do it ourselves. We can't show any weakness. We have to be strong at all costs. We can't ask for help. We have to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. We have to take care of me and mine and leave everyone else to suffer. We're not immune to those things. Those thoughts still come. Those defense mechanisms that protect our vulnerability are still part of our daily lives too. And there's an easy thing to do when they pop up that says, I'm going to box that up and I'm going to put it over here. I'm not going to pay attention to that because this is how I actually want to live. And yet, can we offer that same compassion to ourselves that Jesus offered to the rich young man, saying, I see you and I love you, even to those parts of ourselves that we are ashamed of, those parts of ourselves that we feel like cannot be witnessed in community. Can we give them to God and give them to each other? This is transformative love. Whether that is love for your own self, offering yourself that compassion and that healing, or love of a community where we go to each other and say, I don't know what to do. The things that I have, the tools that I have are not working in this moment. Can you help me? And like a sponsor in a 12-step program, the answer is the same. You are loved. You are whole. You are more than the worst things you have ever done. You do not need to carry shame. You, just as you, beyond all of your defense mechanisms, beyond all of the ways you want to be seen as worthy, my love, you already are. You always have been. In a few minutes, we will celebrate the sacrament of Holy Communion. There are lots of us who've been told we don't deserve a place at the table, whatever the table is. Maybe it was the communion table. Maybe it's a decision-making table. Maybe it's a table that the rest of your family is gathered at. Here, you get to just be who you are. And you get to be fed. And you get to be in community. And you get to be seen as whole and holy. And that invitation into wholeness and vulnerability and intimacy, that is a hallmark that the Spirit is present. Are you being asked to be something that you are not, or are you being asked to be more wholly and vibrantly yourself? Our hope in Faith Community is that it is an invitation to step into all of the pieces that you are, messy, beautiful, and becoming. And so we start here, from a place of vulnerability, from a place of deep commitment to an ethic of love that invites more wholeness and allows us to put down those things which we hope will shield us, but are failing us in this moment. And so, when we say welcome, when we say love, when we say affirmed, this is what we mean. May you find it here in our midst and out in the world beyond. Amen.